Hello, this is Clemmy Games and welcome to a first look at We Slay Monsters, a streamlined roguelike experience featuring a unique poker-based combat mechanic developed by Furiously Inactive Games and released out of Steam Early Access in June 2017. For disclosure, I received this game for free. So unlike the myriad of roguelites, LITE, covered on this channel, We Slay Monsters is a roguelike, LIKE, which, as the genre suggests, is like the game Rogue, from which this entire subgenre takes some form of inspiration from. Here, we have the classic turn-based combat, permadeath, and an interesting take on procedural generation. More on that later. The story goes that the Academy of Dungeoneering was once the most famous school in the land, producing heroes and legends that went on to accomplish great things. Their calling card was the phrase "We Slay Monsters," and wizards and warriors and rogues that went through the Academy's doors were so successful that evil was purged from the land, and for a period of time, all was well. However, without a need for heroes, the Academy slowly fell into disrepair. 20 years after the Academy closed, evil has returned, and the king has appointed you, a wizard who did graduate from the Academy back in the day, to restore the Academy to its former glory and to train a new generation of heroes to fight the growing evil. The gameplay loop of We Slay Monsters is pretty simple. Send recruits into various dungeons to accomplish missions, earn gold when defeating monsters and completing said missions, use the gold to upgrade your academy, and then take on more difficult missions. While simple, it did provide me with the impetus to keep playing since the battle system is unique and the writing itself is pretty good if a little wonky. The dungeon crawling bit of the game is very reminiscent of traditional roguelikes, with monsters only moving or attacking if you do so yourself. There isn't any complicated speed stat to work with, so the action boils down to the player's turn followed by the monster's turn. Combat here is based on poker mechanics, but instead of having 4 suits of 13 cards for a total of 52 in a traditional deck, we instead have 6 suits of 9 cards for a total of 54 cards. The suits are also unique to your character class. For example, the wizard has crystals, bowling balls, orbs, staffs, fireballs, and lightning. Each of these has their own unique properties, and the damage dealt is based on the suit characteristics, the value of the cards, the combo that you are playing, the damage modifiers from your character's stats, and of course, enemy damage resistances. Attacking combos will be familiar to those with some knowledge of poker, including pair, 2 pairs, straight, flush, etc. And for those not familiar with poker, there is a helpful cheat sheet that you can bring up in the menu. Individual cards do have their own effects as well. For example, the bowling ball stuns enemies, making it such that they miss their turn. Fireballs causes burn damage over time. The staff attack causes enemies to be teleported a few squares away from your character, etc. And these all work individually and in a combo as well. So a pair of 5s containing the 5 of fireballs and the 5 of bowling balls will both stun and burn enemies. For larger combos, this may even trigger a secondary effect. For example, lightning bypasses enemy defenses, but the lightning flush can even cause a chain lightning effect, resulting in the lightning attack moving from one enemy to the next. To make up for the larger number of suits, straights and flushes can be constructed from using 3 cards onwards rather than requiring 5 cards. At the beginning of each mission, you pick from one of 4 random characters with a random initial trait, and these characters all begin at level 1 up to a maximum of level 10 within the dungeon, with the story rationale being that these are the recruits that are sent on this mission as the final component before they graduate. Killing monsters gives you XP and loot, where the former levels your character up, upon which you can pick from 2 out of 4 upgrades, while the latter gives you equipment upgrades, consumables, and gold. When you obtain a certain amount of gold and the gold bar is full, this allows you to purchase 1 out of 6 items from the shop. Missions all have some fixed objective, such as to find a certain item or to rescue an NPC. To do so, you have to seek out the dungeon boss and defeat it, upon which the MacGuffin will drop, allowing you to complete the quest. If you do die, however, your tombstone is left on the map, and in subsequent attempts of the mission, your new recruit can come across this tombstone and you will be able to loot it for some items and gold from your previous run, meaning that subsequent runs, if you fail, would be much easier. This is interesting since the dungeon layouts are procedurally generated at the start of each mission, but then remain fixed until the mission is complete. As a result, because you can recover the corpses of previously slain recruits, We Slay Monsters is perhaps on the easier side of roguelikes. Once the mission is completed, you get some gold for completing the quest, and for every monster defeated, a point score for your actions in the dungeon and any badges that you have earned, and finally, unlocks such as new buildings or enemies. Gold here can be spent in your academy, giving your heroes of a specific class added active or passive abilities. For example, you can purchase the Summon card ability for the wizard, which immediately draws X number of cards from a certain suit into your hand, or the Elementalist passive skill, which increases elemental spell damage by 10% for the first level upgrade. To unlock higher tiers of said skills, some lump sum of gold must be spent to increase the building level. These upgrades do feel significant and powerful, however, it did seem to tilt the game further towards the easy end, so I'm hoping to see some balancing changes. In addition to the wizard, we also have the rogue and warrior classes, which do play quite differently. For example, instead of magic, the rogue has the cards of traps, decoys, truncheons, daggers, beer, and snakes. Decoys were particularly interesting since they changed the physical appearance of an enemy into a hero, where other monsters would then begin to attack it. Snakes were also an interesting one, since by default, they are a ranged attack that inflicts poison, but a flush of snakes will literally spawn a snake, which will constrict enemies on the spot and make them unable to move while causing damage over time as well. Finally, in terms of critique of the game, I feel that certain aspects could use a little improvement, such as skill descriptions and tooltips. While you can bring up more information on your character, enemies, and cards by right-clicking on these, there are certain aspects which are not as clearly shown. For example, the aforementioned chain lightning attack isn't clearly indicated on screen, so I was never too sure if the lightning would hit more than one enemy. I did also run into some graphical glitches in the dungeon and quest completed screen, but that may be due to my recording software and not the game itself. Overall, I think that We Slay Monsters is a good distillation of the roguelike experience. It is on the easy side of things due to the progression system, although initially, I did die a couple of times in the first dungeon. Pretty good writing and fun combat mechanic makes this game worth a look. Anyway, that will do it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Leave a comment if you like. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next video.